We are having a rather nice day and everything is looking lovely. Look at that right now out of the studio window on this lovely bright Sunday. Thank you for joining me. It is so nice to see you here today. This is English Addict coming to you live from the birthplace of English, which is, of course, you know where it is. It is England. Yes, we are back, everyone, presenting another live stream for 2 hours. So I hope you will stick with me. Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you feeling happy? I hope you are feeling happy today. The sun is out. The sky is blue, even though in some areas near to where I live, there have been thunderstorms and also rain. I have to say I feel quite lucky today because the weather is really, really nice. Even though, as we always say with anything, there is always an upside and a downside. So the upside of having beautiful weather during the summer is that everything is lovely and nice and all of the plants and flowers grow. The downside is, of course, people like me get hay fever. So all of the pollen, it goes up my nose and it makes me sneeze, it makes me cough, it makes my nose run with all of that horrible mucus. Not a very nice feeling, if I was honest with you. So if you, like me, suffer from hay fever, can I say I know what it feels like? I sympathise and I empathise because I am feeling the same thing as well. By the way, give me a like to let me know that you care and also to let me know that you are enjoying all of this. It is great to be with you. We have so much to talk about. Many things happening here in my life and also Mr. Steve's life as well. And 2 weeks from now, it will also be happening in your life if you are coming to meet us in Rome. 2 weeks from today, we will be live from the centre of Rome. I'm not sure at the moment. I'm not quite sure where we will be doing the live stream, but we are having a big Rome rendezvous in a couple of weeks from now. Will you be joining me? Will you be coming along? If you are coming, well, I am looking forward to seeing you there. It should be a lot of fun. So we are together again, English Addict. I talk about English. I love English. I like English. I think the English language is rather nice, actually, which is probably the reason why I'm here right now doing a live stream for you. We have subjects coming up today. British English slang. There are many terms, many phrases, many different types of slang that are used in British English. And today I thought we would have a look at some of those things. So we are going to translate some of those British English slang words. By the way, at the moment I am fighting a sneeze. I can feel it building up in my nose. I know that my nose is about to explode. It is a horrible feeling when you are trying to do something and inside your nose it wants to do something completely different. Thank you for joining me. It is so nice to see you. Of course, we do have the live chat. Don't forget, if you are following the live stream, refresh your page, and hopefully you should get the live chat on the screen. Hello Vitas, yes, you know what I'm going to say. What can I say except Vitas, congratulations, you were first on today's live chat. I haven't had a fancy pants for a long time, so as a way of celebrating the fact that Vitas is first again, can I also have a big fancy pants? That's enough. We can't have too much excitement. We also have Beatrice. Hello, Beatrice. It's nice to see you here today, saying hello. And yes, I am looking forward to seeing you again. We have met twice before, once in Paris and twice in Bristol. We had a great time. I must show that video again. I must show that video. The video that I filmed when we went to Bristol to see Beatrice, because we did visit a very interesting place as well. Bahram is here. Hello Bahram. Welcome to my lovely little live stream in the corner of YouTube, hidden away in a dark place. Hello also I will get this right. Faribors. Hello, Faribors. It's nice to see you here today. I did eventually get your name right. Azam. Hello, Azam. Also, we have 77 Camilla. Hello to you as well. It's nice to see new people on the live chat. Hello also to Bahram Khosravi. Hello to you as well. We also have, of course, you know what I'm going to say, Luis Mendez. Luis Mendez is here today. Nice to see you back as well. Maurizio is here as well. Thank you very much for joining me on the live chat. I suppose I should mention that Mr. Steve is coming up, so I will give you your warning right now that in around about 16 minutes from now we have Mr. Steve. Can I just say that Steve has been so busy since 9 o'clock this morning. He's been in the garden doing all sorts of work in the garden, taking care of it. So don't be too surprised if Steve looks a little bit tired and worn out when he joins us at 2:30 today. Mr. Steve is on his way. Marcia. Hello, Marcia. Nice to see you back as well. Irene. Tanya. Hello, Tanya. Nice to see you here as well. So many people are joining in. Giuseppia or Giuseppina. Hello to you. That name sounds a little bit Italian. Would I be right in saying that? Also we have, who else is here? Valentin, Maurizio, I think I've mentioned you already. Marshmallow. Hello, Marshmallow. I have not seen you here on the live stream for a very long time, so welcome back. I would imagine you have been very busy with something, because I can't think of any other reason why you would ignore my live streams. So I would imagine your life has been as crazy as mine has over the past few weeks. We also have, who else is here? Abdelak is watching in Morocco. Hello, Morocco. Nice to see you here as well. Also, Safar is here as well. Tarul is here from Sri Lanka. Hello there. Nice to see you here as well. By the way, if I seem distracted, there is a fly in the studio. And if you have ever presented a live stream on the internet, you will know that having a fly buzzing around you at the same time is very, very distracting. British English slang terms. Oh, also, my great-grandmother on my father's side was psychic. You weren't expecting me to say that, and now I have a feeling you did not expect me to say that. But my great-grandmother was psychic. She was able to get in touch with the other side. She could see the future. Many people would come round to her house and she would hold these seances. And everyone would try to get in touch with their relative or someone from the other side. And the legend is she could do that. And I have a feeling maybe I have inherited some of her psychic abilities, because last Wednesday I was doing a live stream and I was talking about all the things that you can do on a rainy day. Last Wednesday I did a live stream. I know, you're surprised, aren't you? I think so. One of the things that I didn't mention that I should have on my list of things that you can do on a rainy day was stand outside number 10 Downing Street and announce a general election in the pouring rain. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? I think so. A very unusual sight last week. Rishi Sunak was standing in the rain, getting soaking wet, announcing the general election which is taking place on the 4th of July, in just a few weeks from now. But the problem was I could not get the signal. It wasn't coming through, you see. So maybe my psychic abilities were not working 100%. However, on the same day that I was talking about things to do on a rainy day, 2 hours after my live stream finished, the Prime Minister of this country was standing outside in the pouring rain announcing the general election. And the poor man was getting soaking wet.
Hi everyone.
Hi Rishi. I hope you've dried out now. There's nothing worse than getting wet, especially when you are wearing a lot of clothing. Imagine what that must have felt like. It couldn't have felt very pleasant. That's all I can say. Hello also. Who else is here? Franco Ferrari. Hello to you. I will be in Rome on the 8th with Tanya as well. We are looking forward to seeing you. If you can get along to Rome in Italy 2 weeks from now, we will be broadcasting live, just like we did last year from Paris. We did the same thing last year, and we are doing it again. At the moment, I think we are going to have a large group this year. So I think there might be 13, maybe even 14 people meeting up this year. So it's going to be a lot of people. We are talking about the general election. I don't want to talk about it too much. So for those who don't like talking about politics, because I know you don't, I know some people out there never talk about politics in any situation. In fact, a lot of people say you should never talk about religion or politics with people or other people, because quite often it will turn into an argument. And if you look around the world at the moment, I think they might have a point, to be honest. We went to see a show the other night, Amateur Dramatics. So not a professional show, but I have to say it was brilliant. It was a version of Andrew Lloyd Webber. You know him, don't you? Andrew Lloyd Webber, a famous composer. He's written all sorts of things. Phantom of the Opera is a big one of his. And the other one that a lot of people know is Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. We went to see that the other night in Wolverhampton, and I have to say it was very well done. Would you like to see a little bit of it? So here is a short clip of the closing of the show. So there it is. So this is just as the show is ending. And when you think about it, this is not a professional group. This is an amateur group. But I have to say it was a magnificent show. A very good performance. Lovely lighting. Amazing production values. Everything was really, really good. The only problem is that, well, I will be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber. I don't like his musicals, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of musicals. And to be honest, I don't really like Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So it's not a show that I would normally go along to see. But I was impressed. I was very impressed by the scenery, the way that the stage was arranged, the lighting, everything was wonderful. And even the acting. The young guy, the young chap, the young person who played Joseph was very, very good. In fact, he was amazing. So I would not be surprised in the future if he will be walking on the stage professionally. Beatrice says, I love Andrew Lloyd Webber. I saw that show during the pandemic. One of the things that the pandemic and also the lockdowns did during that time, it did force a lot of businesses to close. And even, I think, Andrew Lloyd Webber owns a particular theatre in London. And one of his big shows, now I think it was Phantom of the Opera. I think it had to close because of the lockdown. So it did affect him quite badly, in fact. But I went to see it. It was a good show. I enjoyed it. It is not the sort of show that I would normally go to see. In fact, I remember as a child, I went to see Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat when I was a child. I must have been around about 9 years old, and the school took us to go and see a professional production of that particular show. So well done to all those involved, including our friend Martin, who was in the show as well. Wonderful. It was lovely. Also nice meeting up with you after the show finished as well. It was lovely seeing you as well. Hello, Holly Josh. Holly Josh, I love your name. Where does it come from? Please tell me on the live chat. Mr. Steve will be here in 5 minutes. I will give you another warning. I don't know why I call it a warning, because I know that a lot of people wait patiently whilst I'm introducing the programme. They are waiting patiently for Mr. Steve to come along. He will be here in a few moments from now. So we are talking about slang words, certain words that are used in British English, and quite often, especially if you are coming here from another country, maybe you are not familiar with these particular types of slang words. We will be talking about those a little bit later on as well. Farry Bors says The Phantom of the Opera is a novel also. I think it is a story, yes. And of course, there was a very famous film made as well. There have been a couple of film versions of Phantom of the Opera. But I suppose most people in this modern age, they will know that particular story from the stage musical, which of course, I think it was one of the longest running stage musicals ever. I think so, because it was performed not just here in the UK, but also on Broadway as well in the United States. And it was running for a very long time. But I'm not a big fan of musicals. I don't know why. I find musicals a little bit annoying. If it's done very well, and if there is a very clear story being told, then I might enjoy it. But normally I will not go to see I will not go to see a musical in any way whatsoever. Steve will be here soon. Oh, I live in the UK now. I used to be in Hong Kong, but now I live in the UK. Hello, Holly Josh. Or is it Holy Josh? It might be Holy Josh. Very nice. Welcome. I'm now going to ask a very nosy question. I'm going to be inquisitive. I'm going to ask a very intrusive question. You know what I'm going to ask. Where in the UK are you? Whereabouts? Maybe it is in the south, near London. Maybe it is in the north, near Manchester. Maybe you are in the Midlands, near Birmingham. Or perhaps you are near me. Oh, imagine that. Imagine living next door to me. Can you imagine what that would be like if you lived next door to me? Now, think about that for a moment. Would you ever want to live next door to me? So imagine that for a moment. You wake up in the morning, you go outside, and you are thinking that your life is wonderful. And then you realise that your next door neighbour is this crazy guy. Would you like it or not? Would you want to live next door to me? I wonder. Beatrice, YouTube, the YouTube channel The Show Must Go On have streamed every weekend during the pandemic. They showed special shows by Andrew Lloyd Webber. A very good idea as well. So I would imagine during the pandemic a lot of people were doing things in a different way. So because a lot of people could not go to the theatre or the cinema, they had to do things in a slightly different way. But I think that's a great idea. Streaming musicals, Broadway shows, or if you live in London, the West End. So all of these big shows. So I think it's actually a very good idea. Very interesting, in fact. Steve is on his way. Please don't go anywhere because we have lots to talk about. We have the general election to talk about. We also have... Oh, I think it might be thundering, by the way. If I suddenly disappear, it's because my house has been struck by lightning. So at the moment we have a thunderstorm and also lightning flashing around outside. Steve will be here in a moment. Please don't go away. Lots to come right here on English Addict. My goodness. Look at the weather now outside. It just shows how quickly things can change. When I started the live stream, it was beautiful and sunny. And now the rain is coming down. We have thunder. We have lightning. There is a huge storm taking place right now outside my window. So just in case we disappear, if we suddenly vanish, you will know why. You will know that the top of my house has probably been struck by lightning, something like that, maybe, perhaps. English Addict is here with you. I hope you are having a good Sunday and you are dry. That would be very nice. Apparently Palmyra is watching the hockey. So Palmyra will not be coming on today, but I'm sure she will catch it later. Can you hear that? It is very dramatic. It is thundering. We have lightning, and I have to say, when I was a child, I was really afraid of thunder and lightning. I hated it. I used to go and hide in the corner of the room. Talking of people who like hiding in tight places, it is Mr. Steve. He is coming right now. Are you ready? Are you ready to see Mr. Steve on your computer device? Have you taken your pills? Here he comes.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello, wonderful, beautiful viewers from across the globe, from across the universe, and from all dimensions. Here we are in I've just come in from the garden, Mr. Duncan, and I have timed it perfectly because it is now, as Francesco Scopecci says, it is raining buckets.
Yeah.
Coming down in buckets, which it is. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Francesco Scopecci, I think, because I've been trying to learn, as you know, how to pronounce some Italian this week. I've got no phrases for you. We're doing that next week, but let's just see if I've pronounced that correctly. But yes, happy to be here, and hello to everyone, and we're going to have a good lesson, aren't we, Mr. Duncan?
I hope we are. If we don't, I don't know whose fault it is, but maybe we will both have to take the blame.
Oh, my stomach, Mr. Duncan. That's my stomach, not the thunder.
My goodness.
So if we go off air, if we have a power cut, which we may well do.
Yes.
Although probably not. We have the worst storms ever and we don't get power cuts, and then for absolutely no reason we get a power cut.
Well, today I think we have a good reason to have one.
Yes. So let's see what happens. Onwards and upwards, as they say.
Yes. So whatever happens, if we suddenly disappear, don't panic, but you might have to call the fire brigade because we might be on fire with the smoke and the flames. And
apparently they've had power cuts in America.
Okay.
In parts of America, I think around Texas area, they've had some very bad sort of hurricanes and 100-mile-an-hour winds. That's
the one thing I like about here. We don't really get hurricanes or tornadoes. We don't get those sorts of it's like a funnel, isn't it? I'm enjoying this. I don't know if I feel good about this or not. But there is an absolute raging storm taking place outside at this moment in time. But we don't get extreme weather, do we, like that here?
No, not usually. Very rarely we do. Maurizio has put a word up, an Italian word that he wants me to pronounce. Now, I'm not going to do that because how do I know what that means? You could be getting me to say something very rude and dirty.
That happened to me in China. That happened to me in China. A lot of my students were teaching me words and they said, "Oh, Mr. Duncan, that means friend," or "that means nice."
But I'll pronounce the first word, but the second one looks very, very dodgy, as we say. Buon. I won't say the next word. Anyway, moving on.
Pomeriggio. Pomeriggio.
Yeah, but I don't know what that means.
Steve, I'm trying to help you here.
No, I don't want to pronounce that word. I think it's a rude word, Mr. Duncan.
No, I'm trying to. Can you just let me? Bon means good.
Well, that does, yes. But
Yes.
what's the next word mean?
It could be. All right. It could be. It could be. It could be. It could be nice. It could be good afternoon.
I don't think it's good afternoon.
I'm trying to tell you my story about China. When I was in China, my students used to get me to say rude words in Chinese without me realising that I was swearing. Very naughty. So what does it mean then? What does it mean, that phrase? Buon pomeriggio. Next week, by the way, we are going to look at some Italian phrases because 2 weeks from now we will be standing near a very large ruin. And I'm not talking about Mr. Steve.
Scopet. Oh,
Come on.
Scopece. Is that right, Francesco? Scopece. It's a closed or an open E, I don't know, but we're not going to delve into those details.
No, we'll do that next week. We've got a whole
We'll do
show.
that next week.
We've got a whole show next week, Steve.
Oh, it's good afternoon. Good.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
good.
We'll do all that next week. We will test our Italian pronunciations of common phrases that we may need to use in Rome. I've got to learn to roll my R's,
No,
which I'm
it's
very
probably-
bad at.
You don't actually need to be honest.
Well, everyone I've listened to on Italian teaching YouTube channels is very much rolling their R's.
Yes, but the problem is not everyone can do it, and I think you are one of those people.
Can everybody in Italy roll their R's?
No, I
Are
don't-
there some people in Italy
Okay. Can we talk
that
about
cannot
this?
pronounce their
Steve,
roll their R's?
Can we talk about this next Sunday?
Yeah, but
Because-
anyway, I'm just asking because I've got a week, you see. I've got,
Okay.
got to learn to roll my R's.
Now, before we started today's live stream, I did say to you one or two things that we weren't going to do today, and one of them was talk about Italian because we're doing a whole show next week about it.
We are.
So we are doing that next week. By the way, last Wednesday, a big announcement, the general election. We are having one everywhere in the world. Almost every country this year is having a general election. It's very unusual, but apparently everyone is having one, including us, and ours will be taking place on Thursday, the 4th of July, which I think is a very interesting day to choose because it is American Independence Day. Also, a lot of people are away on holiday. Interesting. I think that is a very interesting choice. Don't you? Don't you think it's an unusual time?
I think people can do postal votes. The Conservatives have been trying, or the Tories, as we also call them, have been trying to work out. They've got to go for an election because their 5 years is up at the end of this year, so they have to go for an election by November. But they're trying to time it in a way that will give them an advantage to win. But I don't think there's anything that they can do that is going to make them win. The rest of the world is going to go to the right in terms of politics.
Okay.
But we are going to go to the left, probably with a Labour government.
I disagree, but there you go.
Wow.
Here's another one, Steve. So we have the general election, and the people of the UK. This is how we normally say this when we talk about people going to vote. We say the people of the UK in this country will go to the polls to elect the next government. So you go to the polls. It always sounds very strange, I think. Of course, it stems from the distant past when people would choose their leaders, when democracy was born way back in the past. So the next government, and I suppose we should mention also, just to make sure we are fair, Mr. Steve, there are 3 main parties in this country. And as Steve said, quite often we talk about Conservatives. They tend to be more towards the right of politics. We have Labour, who tend to be more towards the left. And then we have the Liberal Democrats, who are, well, as their name suggests, they are very liberal and they are democratic. So you might say that they are open to everything, all of the suggestions. Although, as I said a few moments ago, Steve, I do slightly disagree, because at the moment all of the politics in this country seems to be in the middle. So everyone seems to be agreeing with each other about everything in some way. So I think it's going to be very hard to make a choice, because they all seem to be saying pretty much the same thing. However, I think they are going to get very desperate. All of the parties are going to get desperate, Steve, because they want that important vote. So already we have the current Prime Minister. He said he will bring back national service for young people. They will be forced to do, I think it is 1 year or 2 years of some sort of military training or service. Very interesting. So it will be fascinating to see what happens next. So I think it's going to be a very interesting 4 or 5 weeks. I think so.
I think I'll volunteer if the Conservatives get back in. I think I'll just volunteer for some kind of military service.
I can't imagine you in the army.
I've always wanted to have a go, just to see what it's like.
Can you see Mr. Steve with a gun?
Well, I definitely would like to do a bit of national service, I think.
I bet you would.
Just because I think it's just a skill, a few skills to learn, survival, how to defend yourself.
Yes.
In a physical way. So I would like to do it. But I'm sadly too old.
I'm sure you could be one of those reservists. See, my father used to be in the army. In his younger days, he was in the army. He served in the army. Then later, he became a reservist. So those are people who, if they are needed, they will be called up to join the army. So much later. So maybe you could, Mr. Steve, you could still have your dream about fighting a man.
Well,
wrestling him to the ground.
I'm hoping to do that in Rome.
I think it will be the other way round.
I would be, yes, probably. I would be eligible for the Dad's Army.
Okay.
Which the Dad's Army, as the name suggests, it was a sort of a home-based army.
Yeah, they were known officially as the Home Guard.
The Home Guard, to defend the country at home. So the troops in the Second World War were all away, and so there was an army of people who didn't go to war, basically retired people, older people who were too old to go and fight in battles. So I would be eligible for that. But anyway, we hope not to come to the point where we would need a home guard. Of course, everyone's trying to worry us that we'll be going to war with Russia at some point, but I find that very hard to believe. But that's what everyone's talking about.
I think there are places far nearer to us, Steve, that we could be going to war with.
There's a few countries that Putin's army would have to get through before he comes to us.
Let's face it, Steve, no one likes us at the moment. The UK, Great Britain, not many people like us. So we need all the help, all the attention and all the love that we can get. I think so. Today, by the way, we have an interesting subject today, Mr. Steve. Are you intrigued?
Maybe.
Yes. Are you putting your finger just below your mouth like this and you're going,
yes. I wonder what it could be. Intriguing.
I am intrigued. I want to know more about it. We are looking at English phrases or British English slang terms that might be used. We did have one earlier. Someone asked what bevy means.
I saw that.
Bevy. Now, as I understand it, bevy means a group or a large group of people, bevy. But then I suddenly doubted myself because it doesn't sound right. But I think it is. I think if you have a bevy of people, I think it just means a quantity or group. How do you see that, Steve?
A bevy. Yes, it's a sort of a slang term for a drink.
Yes.
Usually an alcoholic drink.
Oh, I see. So I always thought it meant a group of people, but I suppose a bevy also means, yes, you're right, alcoholic drink.
Oh, it could mean a group of people as well.
Yes.
But usually you say, oh, shall we go out for a bevy?
Hmm.
It's a slang term for going to the pub for a drink, usually beer or something like that.
Yes.
But
well,
yeah,
it's the actual drink itself.
Yeah, a bevy. It could be anything. It could be wine. It's just an alcoholic drink.
That's it.
A bevy. It's just a phrase that you would use sometimes with a group of people you know well.
You might say, do you want to join me later for a bevy?
Yeah.
In fact, I think it refers to the word beverage, which of course means drink. So I think that's where it comes from. But I always thought bevy also related to a group or a crowd of people.
Maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Maybe I'm completely wrong. And I will have to give over my English teaching badge and my gun. I mean, maybe I can't do it anymore.
You can't be expected to know everything, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
You're not a professor of English.
No, but I didn't say I was.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You can't be expected to know. Just as I'm learning, if you're trying to learn Italian, the teachers very much say there that even depending on what language, say Italian, you're trying to learn Italian, even Italian people get their own language wrong sometimes, or there's differences.
Yes.
I mean, we get it all wrong here. Lots of people, as you covered last week, common mistakes that people make with words and phrases, and it's the same in any language.
Faribors asks, is conscription still legal in the UK? No, it isn't. It is not. Not for a very, very, very long time. Since the Second World War and also just after as well. So conscription did actually go on until after the Second World War. So here we call it national service. But it doesn't exist, however, at the moment, because the Conservative government are getting so desperate. They are using these wonderful things that a lot of people want to see again. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of the groups of people who are standing for election, they will bring back other things, maybe the death penalty for people who park illegally.
I think with the Conservatives saying that they'll bring back conscription or national service, because it went on until I think the 50s, where
yes, I think it was the late 50s. About 1958 it stopped.
That when you were, I think it was 18, you had to do a year's national service. In other words, it was preparing you for another possible war.
Yes, this was during the war.
Well, no, I'm on about. Well, you're on about national service.
Yes.
Which, when the war stopped, national service went on until the late 50s.
That's it.
And conscription is more you must join the army and go to war.
It does happen in, I think it's Taiwan, also Vietnam as well. They have national service there, so everyone has to join the army for a certain period of time.
I think maybe is it Sweden who said they're going to reintroduce national service, and Finland or Sweden said, because obviously they're bordering onto Russia, so they I think have reintroduced it.
So if I was 20, I would be against it, but because I'm old, I am all for it. Bring it on. Yes, I do. I think national service conscription should be brought back for everyone under the age of 23. And they should have their mobile phones taken away from them, so they won't be able to listen to any of that awful music. They won't be able to watch their TikTok videos either. And yes, bring it on. I think it's a good idea. Only because it won't affect me. I can't imagine being in the army. I really can't.
No.
Hello to Jimmy from Hong Kong. We have one of your countrymen or country ladies here in England watching right now in Reading. So there is someone from, at the moment, from there. Mr. Duncan, Mr. Steve, off topic for a while, but when will you use the word scutcheon? Now, I don't think we ever use that word. It sounds like a technical word or maybe something that's used in a special field. When will you say shield instead? Well, I think shield is probably used more often. The only problem is, I would imagine it depends on what the context of that sentence actually is. I think so. Marcia is here, and also, Steve, don't get excited. He's here. Pedro Belmont is here watching in Brazil. I'm just wondering, Steve, when will we be going to Brazil to do our rendezvous?
That would be very exciting.
It's a long way.
It's a long way, but, maybe we can do that one day, go west and, have a go, because we've got lots of people watching in South America, so that would be a wonderful place to visit. And but of course it's a very big continent. But anyway, we're jumping the gun.
Yes,
as we say, to use a phrase.
Yes.
To say that you're getting ahead of yourself.
Yes, or you're doing something too soon.
Doing something too soon, or thinking about or talking about something that you can't possibly do at the moment because of certain restrictions. It could be money, it could be anything.
Okay. Pedro wants to know which division of the armed forces would you like to be part of? Would it be the army, the navy? I think it will be the navy, actually.
I don't want to be on a boat.
I think Steve would like to be on a boat with lots of young men.
No, the army. I'd go in the army.
And, surrounded by lots of servicemen.
I mean, my father was he was in the merchant navy.
Yes.
But I've never really liked the sea.
No. You've never been much of a seaman.
And I don't fancy going up in fighter planes. So I think it would be the army for me.
The army. So you would be the guy peeling the potatoes for all of the troops.
Well, I'd be serving in some way.
Yeah, I'm sure you would be.
I'm not quite sure how, but there must be a way that I can serve the troops. Maybe. I'd be in the concert party, wouldn't I?
Yes.
I'd be entertaining the troops.
Yes. So the concert party was a division of the army where they would put on performances and shows, and quite often the army, the male soldiers would dress up as women and perform shows. You're right. It's very, very intriguing and interesting. See, that's what they should do when they go to war. All of the male soldiers should appear dressed as women and just come over the top of the trenches, and the enemy would just go, what's going on? They would be so distracted. By the time they worked out what was going on, you'd be there. You could capture them, and you could tie them up, and that's it. It's all over, just because they were all dressed in drag. I think so.
It's all fantasy. Well, fantasy is probably the wrong word. A fantasy is something that you want to happen, and I can't say. Given the choice, I would probably not want to do that. But I mean, you can join the TAs. The Territorial Army,
yes,
which is a sort of a volunteer service.
Well, that's sort of the reservists, you see.
Yes, they're sort of reservists.
So that's what they're actually called now. They don't call them the Territorial Army. They're actually now known as the reservists.
Right. So that there is this group you can join, and you can at the weekends you can go off and and sort of learn military ways,
Yes.
how to fight, etc. And then if there was a war, then they would be the first people that would go because they would have had a lot of training. But that's a volunteer.
That's it.
A friend of mine used to do that regularly.
There's sort of a support group that is called in if they are needed. I always find it quite interesting because we were talking about the Second World War, and it's interesting how I was watching a very, very intriguing documentary. Intriguing. It's an intriguing documentary about the Second World War and the preparations that were taking place to invade Britain. And they were trying all sorts of different techniques. But in the end, of course, they ended up using their air power. But their planes were no match for the military of Britain. And that of course was the famous battle that everyone talks about, the Battle of Britain. So that was the big showdown. It's a bit like one of those scenes from Star Wars where all the ships are flying around shooting at each other. So imagine it being like that. I think they call it a dogfight when planes are flying around shooting at each other. I think they call it a dogfight. It's quite interesting.
And of course, the plane that was that won the Battle of Britain was the Spitfire. And very sadly, yesterday, in a show, an air show, a pilot, RAF pilot, was killed flying a Spitfire. It crashed during an air display yesterday. So some of them are still flying,
and some of them are not.
But not that one anymore, sadly.
Oh dear, that's not very good news. That's very sad indeed. But it is interesting. It's always interesting when we talk about the military because a lot of people are talking about different countries and the way they arm other countries. I suppose you might say, Steve, and this is something I don't feel proud of this, by the way, but we do. Our government do sell military arms, guns, rockets, missiles to other countries, so they can use them against their own people, which is a very strange one. I think that is a good example of a moral dilemma. When do you sell your weapons and your missiles to other countries? Because one day that country might be firing those missiles at you. Your own missiles might be being fired back at you. I think it's actually happened sometimes as well, hasn't it, Steve?
Oh, I'm sure it has.
So it's not. I'm not proud of it. I will be honest with you. I don't normally talk about those sorts of things, but because everyone is so like this at the moment, aren't they? About every single issue in the world.
Well, you see, the thing with what we were just talking about, the Battle of Britain. See, what made that possible to win it was that we had a plane, the Spitfire, that was slightly better than the German planes.
Yes, apparently their planes were not very strong. They were not particularly well made, and they couldn't fly very high.
The point I was making
and
is
they had to turn back to refuel all the time.
Technology is what wins wars, and you have to have an edge over the country that you're at war with. That's what usually makes the difference. Not always, but usually. And so, we need to develop weapons so that we can protect ourselves against invaders.
Yes, I suppose. It is a difficult subject.
Yes, we're getting sort of off topic, as Vitas pointed out earlier on.
No, that's fine. I think it's all connected because this is one of the things that is being promised for the upcoming election here in the UK on the 4th of July. Is the Conservatives want to bring back national service for young people, and also I think there will be some sort of voluntary thing as well that young people can do. I think it's a good idea. And I think it is a good way of looking at especially young people. Now, what is the most common thing that young people say, Mr. Steve? What is it? What is it? You always hear young people saying this. What is it? Can you think of what the one phrase that you always hear young people say?
Higher.
No. About generally their life.
What do young people say? I don't hang around young people.
I thought you would say it, but
I'm just trying to think.
There's nothing to do.
Oh, do they?
Well, that's what. What? Yes.
Well, I don't know.
All the time. Whenever we talk about gangs or vandalism or young people getting into trouble, they often say, "But there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. We've got nowhere to go." That's always been the thing. So I would imagine national service would be a good thing to introduce, because then all the young people will never be able to say that they have nothing to do.
Well, I think the idea is that rather than learn sort of military tactics and how to fire a gun, it's more about putting young people to use in the community.
Yeah.
So they're calling it national service, but I think in reality it's a sort of disguised program for getting unemployed people to do jobs for nothing.
Yes. Well, I think it's young people. It's going to be aimed at an age group.
In the community.
Yes, young people, teenagers. But I think if it improves the outlook of young people, because I know these days, living in this day and age, it is a hard thing to live in this time, especially if you are a young person. So I do understand. Yes, you can learn different disciplines. So I think that's what you were saying earlier, Steve.
Yes, it's a big topic. I mean, a lot of the time, parents instill this kind of behaviour into their children, or should do. But if they don't do it, then the government has to. But of course, governments are so frightened of upsetting anyone now because they might not get voted in.
But what I was going to say about the national service is we all know it's not going to happen anyway.
No.
Because no one ever brings these things in. They are just a way of attracting the voters towards you. So I would imagine, I would not be surprised over the next few days, because we all remember Brexit. That was the reason why we ended up leaving Europe, because David Cameron was getting desperate and he started making promises, and he said, "Look, vote for me and I promise that you will be able to have a referendum." And he thought, in the back of his mind, no one is ever going to vote to leave Europe. No one would ever do that. So we might have another Brexit moment where
the problem is that young. Anyway, we're not going to go into Brexit.
No, I'm not talking about Brexit. I'm talking about promises that people make when an election is coming. So at the moment, national service, but I'm just wondering what it will be next. What will the next thing be that they will promise? And I'm thinking maybe capital punishment for people who let their dogs do their poops on the pavement. I think that's fair. It's
going to have to be something that they're going to promise but will never bring in. I mean, it's like Lewis said earlier. I mean, we talk about right and left in politics, but in reality now, there is very little. I mean, if you go back to the 1970s, there was very much a left-wing government, a right-wing government. There were very much big differences between the two parties. Yeah. But now there isn't, and pretty much across Europe there aren't big differences. Of course, we've got a different system to most of Europe. Some
people might say that they've swapped round, where maybe people towards the left have become more radical and more conservative, and people on the right have become more social aware or socially aware. It's very strange how those two things have kind of swapped around. But I think it's all in the middle at the moment.
They're all chasing votes.
Everyone is trying to please everyone, which of course means that they will probably end up pleasing no one. It is 6 minutes past 3 o'clock, Mr. Steve. And we went to see a show last week, didn't we?
We did.
Changing the subject slightly. We are talking about British English slang in a few moments, but we went to see a show, and I have to say, well done, congratulations to, I think the group is called Starstruck. Is that right?
Yes, that's the amateur group. We went to see an amateur production and in our local area to support a friend of mine who is sometimes on the live chat.
Okay.
But he's not on here today because he's in a matinee show.
That's it. Well, we're watching it now on the screen.
Production of what was that show called, Mr. Duncan? That was called...
What? What? You can't remember?
Well, I'm asking people to get... I think people know what it is.
Well, I mentioned it already. What?
You've already mentioned it, haven't you?
Joseph.
Yes, Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I wasn't sure what was going on then.
And that was the end of it. And so it was not the type of show that you and I would normally go to watch. But
yes, that's what I said earlier. I'm not a big fan of musicals, and I do find that type of show quite obnoxious. However, the production was amazing. The lighting, the staging, the everything, the performance, the young lad who played Joseph. I would imagine that he will be, maybe in the future, quite a well-known actor, I think, if he stays doing that particular thing. And Mr. Steve, you got very excited when he started taking his clothes off.
I didn't. The girls behind us did.
There were some women behind us sitting in the audience, and when Joseph came on with almost no clothes on...
Which he has to in this show.
In the show...
Let's point that out.
All the women behind got very excited.
Yes, and what was very disconcerting about that is they were all old enough to be his mother, and they were obviously getting excited at the sight of a topless teenager on the stage, which I thought was a bit strange.
I think he was only 17. So all those women out there in their 50s. You should not be doing that, because imagine if we did that. If we did that, they would be calling us all sorts of things. But if women do it, it's okay. Why? Why is that? There should be equality. Everyone should be able to be as perverted as each other.
But yes, in the world of amateur shows, everybody goes to support their friends who are in there. You go to their shows, because there's lots of amateur groups, say in Wolverhampton, where I am a member of these groups. There must be 5 or 6 different groups. Everybody knows everybody else.
Yes, I want to talk about the show itself, Steve.
Yeah, and I'm just saying you go to see each other's show, and then they come to see yours, and that gets people... It all gets the tickets sold.
It almost sounds a little desperate, but we went. I don't normally like that sort of thing, but it was good. You enjoyed it, and of course a big thumbs up to Martin. I know he's not here at the moment because he's on stage right now in the show, but it was a good night. We had a nice night, didn't we? It was good.
We did. It's very hard work, because I know when I've been in shows and taken lead roles, it's very hard work. For example, they've got 6 shows. So the opening night was on Thursday that we went to see. Then they had a show on Friday night, but then 2 shows on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. And don't forget, it's an amateur show, so everyone performing does not get paid. In fact, you have to pay to be in the company.
Yeah.
And it costs you, obviously, travelling as well.
Okay.
The only people that get paid are the musical director and the producer.
Good.
Everybody else, it's volunteer, and you just do it because you want to do it and you love doing it.
You do it for the love. A bit like me, really, doing this. I do this. I don't get paid for it. YouTube will sometimes come round and they will push a little new penny through my letterbox just to remind me of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But besides that, nothing. I have to go on the streets, I have to beg, I have to steal, I have to borrow, I have to do all of those things. Which reminds me, yesterday, we went into Shrewsbury yesterday, and I had to go into a certain store. Now, I'm not going to say the name of the store, Boots the chemist. and there was a security guard in there, and he would not leave me alone. He was following me everywhere. So everywhere I went, the security guard was following me all around the shop. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was getting a little annoyed about it because I was going in there to buy some things, and this guy would not leave me alone. He was behind me all the time, following me. He kept standing, and he was, oh, what's that guy up to? What's he doing? Is he stealing things?
He was very suspicious of you, Mr. Duncan.
Very suspicious.
Because, of course, anyone going into a store wearing a baseball cap, it must be a red light to a security guard, thinking that people will shoplift, because you must have looked like a youth who was going to nick stuff from the store.
Really?
Well, yes, because you were dressed in a way that would suggest that you might want to shoplift. So he was following you around.
No, that's not the bit I'm interested in. I'm interested in the part where you said he mistook you for a youth. Thank you, Mr. Steve. I needed that today.
Probably. He probably thought that you were... But, anyone watching, he couldn't have done anything, even if you were shoplifting, because he might have asked you to leave the shop. That's all you can do now in the UK.
Well, they can detain you.
I don't think they can do that anymore,
No.
Mr. Duncan.
No, I think you'll find they can detain you. It's just that sometimes if there's 30 of you doing it at the same time, then it's much harder. But
They're not allowed to handle you.
No, I think they can stop you from leaving the shop, but they can't grab you or touch you.
Exactly.
But you can prevent them from leaving and then call the police. Anyway, I'm not a shoplifter. I wasn't stealing anything, but this guy really did think. Maybe he thought I was some young teenager who was up to no good, which of course I quite like. So I suppose I should take it as a compliment that shop detective thought I was stealing things. So now
Yes.
I feel flattered and not offended.
If he'd done it to me, I'd have dropped the things and just walked out. And I would have actually complained, I think, because he
Yes.
was being very aggressive.
Yes.
You don't want somebody to be literally virtually standing over you.
No.
It's going to make you very nervous.
Yes. That's profiling, that is. That's because I'm wearing a baseball cap. So he's picking on me because of my cap. So he is hattist. He's a hattist person. He's got a problem with people who wear hats. It's not very nice at all.
Pedro says, have we seen any Iranian movies? Iranian cinema is awesome. I haven't, but I wasn't aware that they were... Are these older films? Because I'm not sure. Are they? Can they make movies in Iran?
I'm going to tell you now, I saw a very interesting documentary, Mr. Steve, about Iranian cinema. And before everything changed in Iran, so when the Shah was in charge, they did have quite a vibrant movie industry, and there were films made. So all of these things did happen. There was a thriving industry of movies in Iran before everything changed. Before there was the overthrow of the Shah, and everything changed somewhat, became a little bit more conservative, let's just say.
Yeah, so are these older films that you're watching, Pedro? Or they probably still are making films, but not in the way that they would have done before the revolution. Beatrice says that she always goes shopping with a baseball cap on. So she's coming to the UK next month. So we'll have to be very careful. Yes, definitely, if you are wearing a baseball cap, that will mark you out as somebody who could potentially be a shoplifter.
You know what's really funny, Steve? What's really funny is during COVID, during the lockdown, when the shops were starting to open again, people were told that they had to go into the shop with a mask on. Now, they're telling people that they can't go into the shop with a mask on. So they're telling people now to take their masks off, because apparently a lot of people who don't want to be identified are wearing masks to go in and steal things. But during COVID, everyone was being told that they had to wear a mask to go into a shop. So it's strange how these things change, how the rules can sometimes change completely. So I think that's quite funny. There are some good movies such as Taste of Cherry, The Separation, The Salesman, and About Ellie. I have heard of one of those films.
But when were they made?
Taste of Cherry. So I think many of these films will probably be old films, probably from the maybe late 60s or the 1970s, up until 79 when everything changed.
I don't think the current regime is keen on filmmakers.
No, I don't think there is a film industry now in Iran.
But you never know. They might be able to make certain categories of films. But anyway, we don't know enough about that. But we would like to know if these are recent films or sort of pre the current leaders, pre the current since the revolution, or before or after.
Yes. Very interesting. Today we are looking at something that is equally interesting, and we will be doing that in a few moments from now. We are looking at British words used in British English that may be a little bit confusing. We are talking about types of slang, British English slang. All of that coming up in a few moments. Don't go away. English Addict is with you today. I hope you are having a good day. Giving you a taste of the weather there with the puddle dance. We don't do the puddle dance very often on the English Addict show, so I thought we would do it today. Mr. Steve is also with us in the studio. He's joining us fresh from his adventures in the garden. There he is, looking good today. Can I just say something? You look amazing at the moment. I don't know what's happening. So I feel quite good because I've been doing more exercise and I have lost a little bit of weight. So I think at the moment, you and I, we are getting into shape. I think we really are, Steve. I think everything is looking up for us because we're taking more care of our health. We've stopped eating all of that rubbish.
Hang on
food.
a minute, Mr. Duncan.
We've stopped eating all the rubbish.
Hang on.
Yes.
We are taking better care of our health.
Well, I am.
I have always taken good care of my health.
Yes.
Don't lump me in with yourself, Mr. Duncan. Yes. Anyway, I'm joking. But yes, well, the thing is, in the summer, you naturally get more exercise because, particularly if you've got a garden, because you have to be out there in the garden and it keeps you very fit and healthy.
But anyway, I'm talking about me, not you then. So because you're always healthy, so I would say that I've been improving my health. I've cut out most of the awful sugar, no more chocolate, nothing, and I'm saving myself. Do you know why I'm saving myself, Mr. Steve?
Yeah, for Italy.
Yes, for the big Rome rendezvous. There it is. Look at that. I've designed that myself. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? The Rome rendezvous 2024 is taking place. In fact, 2 weeks. Sorry, 2 weeks from now, we will be standing somewhere near this building, maybe. With our super duper Rome rendezvous, or should I say the Roma appuntamento, which means appointment. So your Rome rendezvous will be taking place. I hope you can join us. If you can't join us for real, you can always watch the live stream, which we will be doing on that day as well. So for those coming to Rome, we are looking forward to seeing you. And that's one of the reasons why I'm losing weight and getting fit. So I can walk around Rome, and also I will be able to enjoy some of that amazing Italian food. Wow.
Apparently they are still making movies in Iran.
Oh, okay. That's brilliant.
There we go.
That's good.
So thanks for telling us that, Pedro.
I wonder if they are heavily censored.
I would imagine so. But anyway, let's not go into that.
I wonder. I'm just being intrigued for a moment, Steve. Are you intrigued?
Not really.
You know what I'm intrigued about? I'm intrigued about the subject that is coming up today, because we are looking at British English slang. So not general slang, but British English slang. So I think we are going to have some fun with this, to be honest. I think we are going to have a little bit of fun with this particular subject. On the screen right now, we are going to translate British slang. We have quite a few to look at, so we will start with the first one. If you are feeling thirsty, or maybe first thing in the morning, Mr. Steve, you wake up, what is the first thing you have to drink? Not water, but what is the first thing you have?
To drink? Cup of tea?
Oh, Mr. Steve, yes. We have the first word. The word is cuppa. Cuppa. I really fancy a cuppa. Do you want a cuppa? Cuppa. It is British slang for a cup of tea, or maybe any hot beverage. So even a cup of coffee, you might say, do you want a cuppa? Do you fancy a cuppa? Do you want a cuppa? So quite often in English we will use this phrase. Maybe if you are being friendly or kind to someone, maybe you go to visit someone's house and they might say, do you want a cuppa?
It's less formal English, isn't it?
Well, it's slang, yes.
It's slang. So it's slang. It's a way of saying something that's easier to pronounce or quicker.
Yes.
A cup. Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a cuppa?
Would you like a cuppa? It's a great slang term.
It's a friendly sort of. You would say it it's a sort of a friendly way, a less formal way of asking somebody if they want.
That's it.
A cup of tea. Usually, it's for tea.
So all of these words are slang terms.
But it
so
could be
they're all
coffee.
taken as slang terms. Definitely. Cuppa. A cup of tea.
Cup of char. If you definitely meant
Okay.
tea, you could say a cup of char,
Okay.
which is what they say in India for tea, I believe.
Okay. Bloke. Here's another one, Steve. Bloke. Did you hear about the bloke who lives down the road? The bloke. So this is another British English slang term. So this is not used in American English. British English, we say bloke. Certain parts of this country, people will use this particular term. We talk about a bloke, a man, a guy, or a male. Who was that bloke I saw you with?
And a bloke is normally, I would say, a heterosexual man, quite a... Yes, not an effeminate man in any way. A bloke is normally, if you describe someone as a bloke, they're a typical man, I would say. Somebody that likes sport, likes drinking beer, a bloke. Probably doesn't worry about fashion, sort of dresses sort of just in whatever he wants. A bloke. It's a sort of what you would describe as a sort of a typical man.
So maybe a man with masculine traits.
A man with masculine traits,
Yes.
exactly, would be, oh, you're a real bloke, you are. somebody who likes sport, likes going out with the lads, pick up a bird at the weekend.
I like going out with the lads. Does that make me a real bloke? I wonder.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to lads, isn't it? Have you got that one coming up?
Maybe.
But yeah.
Anyway, this is slang. This is slang that we use in English. Bloke can refer to a man, a guy, a male, or quite often if we don't know who the person is, maybe we see someone far away, and you might say, "Do you know that
average man?"
So, do you know that bloke? Do you know that bloke? Who was that bloke I saw you with? Here's another one, Steve. Oh, food. We are on the right track now because we are talking about food. Mr. Steve, would you like a butty?
No. Oh, is that a question? Is that a rhetorical question?
But it's just part of the lesson.
Yes. Shall I make you a butty? A sandwich?
Yes, butty. We use this quite often. A butty.
Bread that is buttered with some kind of filling.
Yes. So maybe just a piece of bread with butter on can be a butty. So maybe if you are like me, if you are poor, when I was young, we couldn't put anything on our bread. We could only put this really cheap, horrible margarine, which smelt like sewage. And that's it. And then 2 very thin slices of bread. So that's what we used to have for our supper.
Doesn't refer to the filling at all, but it could be cheese, it could be meat, it could be egg, it could be anything. But yes, fancy a butty. You often see shops, sort of a butty bar or something like that, or the butty shop. It just means that you will get a sandwich from there, but it'll be a no-nonsense sandwich. A butty is not a fancy sandwich. It's not a panini. No. Which we will no doubt discover what a proper panini is like when we go to Italy.
Okay.
It's just going to be a very sort of common sandwich.
Yes, well, just a sandwich.
Just a sandwich, nothing fancy.
Or a piece of bread that's just got butter on it.
It'll be cheese and onion.
Here's an example, Steve.
Chip butty.
Yes. Do you want a chip butty? One of my favourite types of sandwich. If you get some hot chips and you get some bread and you put some butter on the bread and then you put the chips in the middle and you squeeze it all together so all the butter comes out at the edges, and then you take a giant bite.
From high society.
Okay.
Let's say people who are more refined, like the good things in life, would not be eating a butty, because a butty is a sandwich. There are different types of sandwich, aren't there? And a butty is just
it's the term for the sandwich. It's not the type of sandwich. It's just any sandwich could be described as a butty.
But you wouldn't use that phrase.
If you put caviar on a sandwich, it would still be a butty.
Yes, exactly. But you wouldn't use that phrase butty.
No, that's it.
Only certain people would use that. I don't know how to put this more plainly.
Common people?
I would say that...
I don't know what you're saying.
If you're posh, you wouldn't be eating a butty, or you wouldn't describe a sandwich as a butty.
Okay, then, Steve, we'll look at another one.
I'm just giving people the finer points.
Okay.
The finer detail.
Here's another one, Steve, relating to a sandwich as well. Sarnie. Now, this is the one that I know, because we used to always say sarnie. You would have some jam on a sarnie. Sarnie. Sandwich. So again, a sandwich, maybe you can have a cheese sarnie. So basically a sandwich with cheese inside. I have packed some sarnies for later. My mother used to make sarnies for my lunch. Sometimes I would take my lunch to school with me, and she would make me a little packed lunch. Very nice.
Sarnie. Yep. That's that's fine. You can use that word. A sarnie, a butty, a sarnie.
You might say that is colloquial as well.
Yeah.
So certain places might call it a butty, other areas might call it a sarnie. Here's the next one, Steve.
Fag.
What? How dare you? You should not be calling me those names. That is disgust. Oh, hang on. Wait there a second. No, it isn't that one.
A fag, yes. A slang word for a cigarette.
Yes. In British English, and I have to stress this, in British English, the word fag means cigarette. So you might describe a container that has cigarettes inside it as a fag packet. It means something very different in the United States, but here it means a packet of cigarettes or a cigarette. You will have to put that fag out. That's what they say here, isn't it, Steve, when somebody is smoking in a public place, because they were trying to ban smoking completely, but it's not going to happen now. It's not going to happen.
And when you use the word fag, you're almost saying, yes, you're saying it's not a nice thing, really, aren't you?
Well, no,
I think
yeah, that's it. It's just
cigarette, a fag. I don't know where that comes. Do you know where that comes from, Mr. Duncan?
I think it refers to something that burns, a type of wood or kindling.
Right.
I think it refers to that, which when you think about it would make sense, because a cigarette is something that is slowly burning. So I think it has some connection to that particular word. In fact,
refined people would use the word cigarette.
Okay. I don't know where these refined people are, but I haven't met any.
There's not many around here.
I haven't met any for a
We'll meet them all in Roma.
Okay, good. Spud, Mr. Steve, Spud. Do you want some spuds with your chili con carne?
Yeah, spud, potato, slang word for potato, a spud. Can you get some spuds from the shop? Yeah, it's just that one. I think anyone would use that, but just a slang word for potato. Where does that come from, Mr. Duncan? Do we know?
I have no idea.
Interesting.
Good. Thank you for putting me on the spot.
Spud, a potato. Anyone would use that, I think. But again, with all slang words, if you are a sort of refined person, you wouldn't be using them anyway.
I don't think these terms are all class related, you know.
I think they are very
Spud
or class related.
Spuds. My mum used to always ask me to get some spuds from the shop. So what are you saying? Are you saying that I'm lower class and common?
I don't think I ever heard my mother use the word spud.
No.
She would always say potato.
I heard she used to swear like a trooper when no one was around.
I never heard my mother swear, ever. Ever.
Can you get some spuds?
And she had good reason to.
Can you get some spuds from the shop? Yeah, definitely being your mother, I can imagine why. Can you get some spuds from the shop? Spuds, a type of, any potato, basically. Anything that's potato shaped, including my head. Here's another one, Steve. Oh, another one of your favourite subjects, Steve. Money.
Quid.
Quid. It is, of course, a slang term for the British pound. When we say pound, we mean the currency of this country. So a quid, 1 quid is £1. 5 quid is £5. 20 quid is £20. Can you lend me a couple of quid? Don't worry, Steve, I'm not asking you. Don't worry, don't panic.
Yes, if you use that word in like that, can you lend me a couple of quid or can you lend me 10 quid? It's almost softening it a bit. Can you lend me £10? Sounds quite, it's formal, but if you use the word quid instead, it almost sounds like you're not really asking for money. It's sort of softens it a bit, I think, when you say, can you lend me 10 quid? Because it's almost not referring to money if you use the word quid. It is, but somehow in your mind it sort of isn't as... Because it's quite cheeky to ask for money from somebody, isn't it?
It is. I would never be friends with anyone who asks for money. If I have a friend and they say, "Oh, could you lend me some money?" I would say no and goodbye. Goodbye. You are no longer my friend. That's it. No, I have zero tolerance for that.
Maurizio is saying that he can't smoke his cigar during the meeting. Well, you very much can. Is there a slang word for a cigar? I don't think there is.
No, I don't think there is. Cigar.
You could just say a Cuban. I'm smoking a Cuban.
Yes. It's always been my dream to smoke a Cuban.
Quid. Yeah, can you lend me a couple of quid? It's just easier to say, can you lend me a couple of pound? Can you lend me £2? A couple of quid. It's just easier to say. I would use that. Again, I don't think I ever heard my mother use that phrase.
No. But I would imagine she wouldn't, you see. Here's another one, Steve. Oh. Here's another one referring to a person, a man, male.
A chap.
Chap. Have you seen that chap who's moved in next door? Have you seen him? That chap. That bloke. That chap. That fella. I suppose fella is another one. F-E-L-L-A. Fella. Chap. There's a chap down the road who looks just like Tom Cruise.
See, that is the word chap is referring to if you describe someone as a chap. That used to be used a lot by sort of people of class, I would say. Because if you describe someone as a chap, they're a nice person, whereas a bloke might not be a particularly nice person. He might be a bit crude, for example. But a chap he's a nice chap.
Yeah.
You would say that's the way you commonly use that phrase.
But you can use it generally in conversation. If a chap comes round to fix your oven or your electrics.
Yes, you can. But
there's a chap I know. So it can be used informally, just to mean man.
It can. But I think to my mind, when you use the word chap, it's referring to somebody who's quite sort of knows what he's doing, reliable. He's a good chap.
Yeah.
It's just, I think they used to use that in the forces. You would use that. You would sound a bit posh if you use that phrase now. I think he's a nice chap.
But we still use it now. It's really very commonly used now, Steve.
Is it commonly used? Yeah. I haven't heard anybody use it for a long time. But you would, I think it's quite a posh way of describing a male person.
Okay then. Cheers. Here's
my chap.
Is this only used by posh people or scumbags like me?
I seem to be categorising all these in class terms.
But this is nothing to do with class. I don't understand how you're bringing class into this, because slang has nothing to do with class, because everyone uses slang at some point.
But not people of higher class.
So tell me, Steve, please dissect this word, cheers.
Cheers, yeah, cheers. You of course commonly you say cheers if you are celebrating somebody's birthday or something. There is something to celebrate. You hold your drink up, cheers, and it's just a punctuation of some kind of maybe somebody's birthday or something's happened, or you meet people you all go out for a meal and you're all pleased to see each other, and somebody goes, "Oh, cheers! Let's say cheers," and then you all clink your glasses. It's a very common thing.
I feel as if I want to clink my glass. Cheers, generally speaking, is a slang term. It means thanks and goodbye. So maybe someone will help you with a problem that you've got. Cheers, mate. Cheers. But also, quite often, if you are thanking someone as they are leaving. So they are leaving you, they are going away, but also you are grateful to them. So you might say, cheers, mate, cheers. So it is an informal way of saying thank you.
I often use it in emails to work colleagues. Sometimes you put that at the end of your email. It's sort of a friendly way, an informal way of saying goodbye.
Yes.
Or cheers. I often put cheers.
Yes.
But of course it also means a celebration when you hold your drink up.
That's it. But in this sense, it means thank you and goodbye. Thank you very much for that. I must go now. Cheers, everyone. It's a nice, friendly way of saying thank you and goodbye.
Faribort says Chapman, or chap is short for Chapman, which means businessman. So thanks for that.
Okay.
And the slang word for a cigar is a stogie. I remember that now.
Stogie.
Stogie Nitram, so thanks for that.
Yes.
Probably used in America.
I think it's those big fat ones. You know the big cigars that are really long, and you have to cut the end off. And normally business people will have one in their mouth, and they're really huge. So there are a lot of people who used to always have a cigar. I think, who was it? Who was that guy? Who was he? Who was he? You know who I mean. Do you know who I mean?
No.
Good evening. Psycho.
Who?
The Birds.
Psycho.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, Alfred Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name then. I could remember the song and the films, but I couldn't remember his name. Alfred Hitchcock always had a cigar. Good. And of course, we can't forget, we were talking about the Battle of Britain earlier. Winston Churchill. He always had a big stogie hanging out of his mouth.
Or a cigar, as we would say, if you're posh.
Here's another one. Chuffed. To be chuffed, Mr. Steve. Oh. Chuffed. Mr. Steve, I am chuffed to see you.
Yes. Yes, you would use that for please. I'm pleased to see you. I'm really... something that's enjoyable. You're delighted, you're pleased to see somebody, or it doesn't have to be somebody. Something might have happened that's nice. Somebody might have brought you a cake in for work for your birthday. Oh, I'm really chuffed. Thank you for that. So it doesn't have to be, but it just means you're very pleased.
Yes. Anything that comes your way that makes you smile and makes you feel better. You are pleased, you are delighted, you are...
A person.
Chuffed.
A cake. Yeah.
I'm chuffed to see you again. I am very happy
it's
to see...
It's a particular type of pleased. But, yeah.
Here's another one, Steve. You have to pronounce this correctly, by the way, or else we get taken off the air.
Minging.
Thank goodness for that. I'm glad you pronounced it correctly. Minging. Something that is minging. This is very current. This is a very current type of British slang term. Something that is minging is unattractive or ugly. I suppose also unpleasant as well. Something that is unpleasant. Maybe something you don't like the look of, or something you don't like the smell of. Those cakes look minging. Can we use that word in any other way?
Well, we usually use it to refer to other people, don't we?
Well, anything that's unattractive or ugly.
Yes, but quite commonly it's used, oh, that girl is minging. You don't have to pronounce the G in the middle, do you? You can sort of scoot over that. Oh, she's minging. It just refers to somebody who is unattractive but not necessarily just unattractive. Somebody who just hasn't paid any attention to their appearance.
Yes.
They might look unwashed. their hair might look not, they might not have bothered to dress properly to go out.
Maybe they haven't washed and they stink of body odour.
Quite often used to describe a woman, would you say, or a girl who hasn't
I
paid
think
very much attention to
it might be unfair.
their appearance.
It might be unfair to say that to a girl or woman, but it is sometimes used. But anything that you find unattractive, not attractive or ugly. But yes, you are right, Steve. And I think you have to be careful, though, don't you? When you say those things, it can be very offensive.
That would be an offence if you were to say it directly to someone. Oh, you look minging.
Yeah.
That would be quite offensive. But you can obviously talk about somebody with your friends. Oh, look at her. She looks minging. And it's usually, blokes will say that to each other in reference to, because blokes obviously are talking to each other about particular girls that might be walking by or people that they know, and with a view to maybe chatting them up. But they might say, "What do you think of Marcia?" Not Marcia. Let's not use the.
So that's your random
Julie.
name.
Let's say Julie.
Jeez.
Julie's minging. I wouldn't go out with her. Is a common way a bloke, a man would use to describe a woman in a derogatory fashion.
I do like your random names that you use sometimes. It's normally somebody you know very well or you're familiar with.
I'm trying to use, names that don't appear on the live chat.
You're not doing very well.
There we go. We will all be chuffed to meet each other in Rome, says Alessandra.
Yes.
Alessandra.
Well, that's one of the things we did yesterday, wasn't it,
Filo.
Steve? Yesterday, that's one of the things we did yesterday, isn't it? We went to pick the tickets up for the trip.
We did.
Yes, so we're very excited by that. We're taking a train as well, which we're looking forward to as well, doing that.
Yes, Nitram.
We have some more. Sorry, Steve?
Nitram, yes. It's also sort of, they probably smell a bit as well.
Yes, I think we said that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Here's another one, Steve, just for us, because I always seem to get drawn towards this subject. CAC. CAC. This is a term that is used quite often in English. Poop or excrement. In British English slang, it can be referred to as CAC. So it's not exactly swearing, so please don't misunderstand me. I'm not swearing, so it's not really a swear word, but it is another word that can be used for poop or excrement.
Yes,
I just stepped in some cack.
If you didn't want to use the word that begins with SH.
Yes, we all know it.
If you didn't want to use that, which really is the worst, the most slangy, common way to refer to, or offensive way to describe excrement or poop. See, poop is very mild word, doesn't offend anybody.
Nice.
But if you use the SHIT
yes,
word,
we know, Steve.
I know. Well, I'm just,
I
if you use that word, that's can be offensive to a lot of people.
Well, originally that was a word that was used commonly in English. It didn't mean anything rude. It was actually a general word that was used. In fact, here in Much Wenlock, I'm going to swear in a minute, by the way, but it's not a swear word. There is a place in Much Wenlock, Steve, called the Shitbrook. It's actually a place right here in Much Wenlock. Go to Google, look it up. It's a real place. And because originally that particular word was not a swear word. It was a word that was just in common use to mean that particular thing. But of course, when people started to become more aware of their privacy and their need to do things away from other people, for example, go to the toilet, then that word started to take on a new meaning. It took on a different type of definition, let's just say.
In Brazil and Argentina, they use a very similar word, caca, or caca. Not sure how you would pronounce that.
I would not be surprised if it is related somehow to other languages there. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, Steve, would you like to hear some Cockney? Cockney.
Oh, right. Go on then.
Cockney slang.
Cockney slang, yes.
We have the dog and bone. The dog and bone.
So Cockney slang, let's explain, is a words in a sentence that rhyme and sound similar phonetically to the actual thing that you're describing.
Yes.
So dog and bone, telephone. And sometimes they do that for some reason. They want to refer to something, and instead of referring to it directly, they tend to, for some reason, use a combination of words which sound similar.
I believe that Cockney rhyming slang originated through criminal elements. So they wanted us to talk about things and say things that other people wouldn't understand. So it was almost like a secret language.
A secret language,
that
yes.
That then caught on.
I'm not sure how commonly Cockney slang is used these days.
It's used quite a lot in London.
Probably is. Yes, probably only in London.
But I think it is an interesting aspect of the English language. The dog and bone, give me a whistle on the dog and bone. So generally speaking, you wouldn't really know what that meant unless you could decipher or understand what that really did mean. Give me a whistle on the dog and bone. Give me a call. Call me later on the telephone. So I like that one. I think that's pretty good. Here's another one. Cockney rhyming slang. Apples and pears. I'm going up the apples and pears. It's time to go up the apples and pears. Of course, it is.
What does it sound like? Apples and pears, stairs. Phonetically, it sounds similar. And you might use that in a friendly way. I don't think, you would use that in a sort of a friendly way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going up the apple and pears.
But again, maybe if you were meeting someone in a certain place and you were giving them directions, you just go up the apple and pears. So you know that you are meeting that person at the top of the stairs. It's time to go up the apple and pears.
I mean, don't think you've got to know this in everyday English.
No.
Not Cockney rhyming slang.
No. Well, no, that's it. You wouldn't normally use it.
Don't bother learning this.
Okay, that's good, Steve.
With a bit of luck, you'll never have to talk to a Cockney.
Don't bother learning any of this. It's pointless and useless. Good, Steve.
Well, I'm just talking about Cockney rhyming slang.
So here's another pointless and useless phrase. The trouble and strife. The trouble and strife, of course, is the wife, sometimes referred to as the missus. The missus.
So blokes together might use this phrase if their wives were in earshot. I better get home. To the trouble and strife.
Yes,
The reference being that they're being nagged by their wives.
I've got to get back home to the trouble and strife. The wife. Here's another one, Steve. We're going in a minute. The boozer. You might go down to the boozer. So this is one. This is not related to Cockney slang. This is in general use. You go down to the boozer. You go down to the pub. You go to the bar. You meet your friends at the local boozer. I'm going down to the boozer later.
Booze, of course, being a slang word for an alcoholic drink. Another slang word for an alcoholic drink. We had another one earlier, a bevy, and here's another one. But that really does refer to alcoholic drink, booze. I mean, it's sort of probably booze is more sort of hard liquor, isn't it? Probably.
Well, it's normally spirits.
Spirits.
But I think in general terms, it just relates to any place that serves alcohol. So the boozer is the local bar, or the local pub. I'm
we'll
down.
Be going to, we'll be going to a boozer. I don't know what they would call that in Roma. But and I still need to know, will somebody tell me who's Italian? Do I really need to roll my R's? Does every Italian roll their R's, or do some not?
We could explore that next Sunday.
Well, I want to know for next week so that I know whether to bother trying to practice it or not.
Well, judging by your attempts to do it over the past 7 or 8 years, I would say maybe not.
Well, you see, when I've been singing requiems in choirs, normally when you use the word requiem, you have to roll your R.
Yes.
A requiem, but I couldn't.
Yeah, that's it.
But luckily enough people in the choir could, so it didn't matter. And
so as I just said, so clearly you can't, so you don't have to. I think if you can't do something, you don't have to do it. I can't juggle, you see. I can't juggle things. So I'm not going to try and juggle something on the live stream, even though it looks pretty amazing. I can't do it, so I'm not going to bother. Here's 2 more, Steve, and then we are going. Mr. Steve, are you Nesh?
Nesh? I've never heard of that one.
Haven't you?
No.
Nesh. It comes, of course, it's a type of Scottish slang that crept slowly into British English. I know it. You're probably right, actually. I will be honest, Steve. You are probably right, and it probably isn't used that much, but it is still interesting. A person who is weak, feeble. It is not that cold outside. Don't be so nesh. Don't be so weak. Don't be so.
If you're in Scotland. Well, according to Alessandra, yes, I need to I need to roll my R's.
Yes.
So actually, you see, somebody told me it's a genetic thing that you can't, if you can't roll your R's, it's genetic. But that can't be true if everybody in Italy is rolling their R's. I would imagine that's what will mark you out as being British, because I bet not many British people roll their R's when they're trying to speak Italian. I bet that's how you can tell if somebody is British trying to roll their R's.
Yes.
I mean, you'll be fine, Mr. Duncan. You'll be rolling them all over the place.
My R's will be rolling everywhere.
Although, of course, Nitram is saying that I've got to roll my arse, which is something very different indeed.
Good. Finally, before we finish, we've got to finish on one relating to food. Scran. Now, in the Scouse region, which of course refers to Liverpool, there is a very well-known slang term, and the word is scran. Scran means food, or more commonly, a type of meal, any meal that is put on the table. So you serve some food, you serve a meal, you serve some scran.
So that's used commonly in Liverpool.
Yes.
And another word would be grub. Grub. Let's have some grub. Just means food, slang word for food, which is more commonly used.
All right, ma'am. That was some good scran. Oh, ma'am.
Liverpool.
Yes, so that's how they speak in Liverpool, you see.
If you're not in Liverpool, you would use the word grub as a slang word for food. Let's have some grub. Let's go out for some grub.
Yes, I'm peckish.
When will grub be ready?
Yes.
Mum.
Yes, you grab some grub for lunch, something to eat. So that is almost it for our list. In fact, it's going right now. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you wouldn't use grub for a nice meal. It would be sort of,
Well, no, any meal, any food.
You can do, but yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to go to an Italian restaurant and have some grub.
Yes.
I wouldn't, but it's sort of almost making it sound not particularly sophisticated. So we will not be using that word
we will be
Italy.
using, well, we're going to be speaking fluent Italian by the time you go there in 2 weeks from now. So I hope you've been practicing your Italian, Mr. Steve.
Well, I've learned that there's something important this week. I've learned, which I didn't realise, that there is masculine and feminine in Italian words, which of course we don't have in English at all. So that's something I've got to learn, because words are spelt with slightly different endings, depending on whether they're masculine or feminine. So we've got to realise that when we're pronouncing our words as well. But right, lovely to be here, Mr. Duncan. And I look forward to next week.
Well, next week, of course, very exciting next Sunday, because we will be preparing, we will be packing our suitcases, we will be preparing to join everyone in Rome for the Rome Rendezvous, the get-together. We will be all joining together in person and also on here as well. So hopefully all of that will go as planned. And we'll see you next week, Mr. Steve.
Yes. Oh, I was burping then, Mr. Duncan. Burping. Good. Or belching. Belching is a slang word for burping. Right, see you next week.
Catch you later, Mr. Steve.
Ta-ta.
Bye. English Addict is with you for a few more seconds. Just a few more seconds, and then I am going. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. The rain has stopped. The thunder has moved away. And now it is time for me to say goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. Thank you for joining me. It's been nice being here with you for this Sunday, and I hope you have enjoyed it and it has been useful somewhere during the past 2 hours. I hope something is a thing that you will be taking away with you from this very lesson. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. See you very soon. And I will be with you on Wednesday. I think I will be here on Wednesday. I have some things to do, you see, next week. So I'm not sure if I will be here or not. But I will try to be here with you next week. On Wednesday, I will try to do a live stream. It might not be very long. Also, there will be some new lessons as well. New lessons coming up. Keep a lookout for my new lessons as well. Thank you for joining me. Take care, everyone. Enjoy yourself. Have a super duper Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Adios to you all. See you soon. Take care of yourself. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now. See you on Wednesday, I hope.